Hi, Martin here. Today I want to talk to you about an all aluminum radiator for your 99 through 04 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 4.7 liter. This is one I purchased off eBay. I actually was interested in this particular one because it's a little different than all the other aluminum radiators that you see out there on eBay. Alright, so let me show you the differences. This radiator opposed to the other aluminum radiators out there and also compared to stock. Alright, let's get started. Okay, I got my factory radiator right here. This is one that I've replaced some time ago. Now, the factory ones are 1 inch thick. It's a single tube core. Okay, now this radiator here, being 2.2 inches thick, there are 2 rows, 1 inch wide each row. One of the things that did intrigue me about this radiator, being that it is 2.2 inches thick, and the other aluminum radiators you'll see on eBay are 1.6 inches thick. Now, one of the other things that makes this radiator different than most others, it does not come with the automatic transmission cooler built into it. You'll have to run an external one. Now, I'm already doing that on my Grand Cherokee, so this is not a problem for me at all. Now, one of the other differences I noticed between this aluminum radiator and other ones out there, that the other ones that are out there are actually more like the factory ones as far as the mounting brackets for your fan shroud and your AC condenser. They have this small bracket, like that on the other aluminum ones, where you use your clip nuts, like that. Now, this one here, she uses like mounting posts or standoffs, and they're supposed to be threaded. This was one of the great things I found out just recently. This one here is threaded. See if I can get a shot of that. And then you come up here and you look closely and there are no threads. And after a closer examination, I look down in here and I can see the threads on the other side. And what they've done is mounted these on backwards. So right away, here I got to get a tap out, an M6 by 1, and tap these other 3 holes. I shouldn't have to be fixing or completing somebody else's work, right? I should be able to install this radiator and not have to get out a tap and die set. Okay, I want to go over some of the measurements comparing the stock radiator to this one here and what I found. Now, one thing that really surprised me as soon as I took it out of the box was the radiator cap, the fill neck. It is really tall, and the first thing you wonder, is it going to hit the hood? Because let me show you that. I mean, that thing sticks way up there. Okay, I did that measurement, and it is literally 1.5 inches taller than the factory one. Now, it also sits back another 1.5 inches back. Now, with the hood sloping up, that may give you the clearance. Let me show you how I determined if there is enough hood clearance. All right, what I got here is just some dollar store Play-Doh. And we'll take this, I'm gonna place it right here on the radiator cap, kind of pile it up nice and high, just like that. Close the hood, lift the hood, and now we'll take a few measurements off of here and see what kind of clearance we got. One thing I can see right away, there's a line right there. That is a seam there in the hood. So I know exactly where this hit on the hood. Now the high point is what I'm going to go for here. Right there. Right at 40 millimeters. And we're looking right just about 1.6 inches. So 1.5, and we know that that radiator cap was 1.5 inches taller. But it does set back further. And the hood's sloping up. It is probably just going to clear. Now, another thing I also noticed, well, the tank is wider than the factory one. And that wouldn't be a problem, but the overall height is 1 3/8 inches taller to up here than the factory. And let me show you where that is going to be a problem, and I have seen this on other Chinese-made 2-core radiators. Okay, right here. Now, if you add another 1 3/8 inches to the height of this, and you got this support going across here, and it's wider. Now it's way back here, and it's coming out. This corner right here of that aftermarket radiator is going to probably hit this right here. And you're going to end up having a notch on this side and this side as well. All right, the core height is 3/8 of an inch taller and 1/2 an inch wider. Now, I don't think either one of those measurements are going to affect if it fits or not. In fact, that's probably a great thing. Now, one of the things that did concern me was the posts here for the fan shroud. These got these standoffs instead of the clip nut. These top ones were 3/8 of an inch wider. The bottom one was 1/4 inch wider. Now, the thing that concerns me about that is this bottom one right here, because it already comes close to the frame of the frame turns inward. All right, you can see right there is that bolt I'm talking about, and you can see how the frame comes out, you know, toward the radiator here. And I think and then that standoff comes out much further on that aluminum radiator than this one. And I think you're going to end up having a big problem there where this, either that standoff is going to touch the frame or going to make it almost impossible to get that bolt in. So I think that could be a big issue, that this is going to hit the frame, because it does stand off a whole inch off the radiator here. And that's just pushing it closer and closer to the frame. Now, another thing too, these were 3/8 of an inch further apart. The other side was 7/16 of an inch further apart. So right away, because of the width difference and the height difference, to get the fan shroud on here, you're going to have to wallow out the holes on your fan shroud to make it fit on here. Another thing I noticed too, the upper mounts here. You got those larger holes here, and that's where the bushing slides in there, and it's got a little give. I mean, you slide it in onto those points, and then you're able to move it around a little bit. Well, it was 3/8 of an inch narrower than the factory radiator. And what that's going to happen is you're going to end up pulling that bushing out here where this slot is, and it's going to end up not giving you that slop to line up the bolt correctly. So that could be a small issue there. And the bottom posts, right there, those bottom mounting posts were 1/8 of an inch wider apart. It's not an issue because one of the holes that grommet goes into, like this one right here, has an oblong shape to it. So it gives you a little wiggle room there. Now, I noticed another thing that actually concerned me was this radiator outlet. The fact that it doesn't come out at the same angle as the factory one does. The factory one has a much steeper angle, well, 4 to 5 degrees steeper. But let me show you why that is crucial. All right, here's the clearance I'm showing you for the lower radiator hose to the sway bar. As you can see, there already isn't much clearance there. So by decreasing that angle, you're definitely could be touching the sway bar. Now, I've got both radiators sitting here. They're both at 90 degrees right now. Now, using this angle finder, now I don't know if you can read that or not, but that is 14.8 degrees. Now I'll place that over here on this one, and we got 18.6. So you're talking a 4-degree difference from one to the other. And that could be enough that this is going to touch the sway bar. So you can see that could definitely be an issue as well. This radiator, it's one thing after the other is not right with it. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I got the hydraulic fan. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and mod this thing up to this radiator and make the cuts on here to this upper part of the fan shroud right here. Cut it across here so it fits on here. We'll get these holes to line up because I know I'm going to have to oblong all the holes, you know, the mounting points here to get it to bolt up. I know there's a Jeep down at Pick Apart right now with a 4.7 in it. I can go down there and remove that radiator and fan shroud and all that and take this one down there and see how it fits. And that way we'll know, you know, does the lower radiator hose here, will it hit the sway bar, which I think it will? Does this mounting point over here hit the frame, which I think it will? What clearance will you actually have in front of your fan shroud here to the actual water pump? I mean, what will we be looking at if you actually stuck this in there in a Jeep, if you can get it in there? All right, I already made the mark on here, which is 1 inch off the back of this shroud, and I scored a line here. I'm going to use my oscillating saw and cut that off. Now this is a mod that you have to do to get this radiator shroud to fit on correctly. This also brings the lower edge of the fan shroud right to the bottom of the radiator. Alright, now with that section cut off, finally at least come down here to the mounting points. Now the one thing I still have to do is go ahead and thread these other three that these mounting point posts are on backwards. Okay, next I'm going to oblong all the holes on the mounting points of the fan shroud. I got a Dremel here on a wand. Alright, with all the holes wallowed out on the fan shroud, hopefully that should lay right on there now. Bolt up. No, look at that. The bottom ones don't even line up. Not even close. This is getting to be ridiculous. So you can see right here, I got it bolted up. And you look down here, and I don't know if you can see that. The top of that post is right there. I mean, the hole is literally probably about right there. Here's a better shot of it. You can see how far off their measurements are. I mean, it's ridiculous. Since the two top ones do line up, you could drill or wallow out downward to get those two bottom ones to line up. Or you could do a little of both. You could wallow these out upward to drop this down and wallow this downward to make it happen. Alright, so I got it on there, right? But should you have to wallow out any holes or re-drill holes in your fan shroud to make it fit on this radiator? No. Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated. But I'm sure hoping that you guys are enjoying this. Oh man. We'll see you at Pick Apart. Okay, we're down here at Pick Apart. I got this 03 Jeep Grand, no actually, sorry, an 02 Jeep Grand Cherokee here. With 4.7 liter. I got everything ready to pull this radiator out. So here it goes. And there we have it. See, I put cardboard on the front side. That's the most vulnerable side now because I don't want to damage it, especially for this experiment. Yeah, it's not going well. The radiator hose down here, the lower one, oh, it's starting to drop in, but yeah, oh my gosh, is that tight. It is doing exactly what I said it's going to do. That fan shroud mounting point over here is definitely hitting the frame, and it is keeping me a long ways from bolting up. I mean, there is no way. No way. All right, I got the radiator as far as it'll go, and this is the gap I'm still looking at. I mean, I got an inch right there on this side, and probably that's an inch and a half right here before we even make contact here, you know. And this is all because of that mounting point on the fan shroud, that lower one by the steering gearbox. As you can see right there is where we're making contact with the frame, and this is just like I said it would. They have obviously never test fit one of these in a Grand Cherokee. As soon as that radiator were to fall back into its position, that would force this to come down further. So there's no way that's going to work either. And then up here with the water pump, and we've got about an inch and a half of clearance. And like I was saying before, if this was installed, you know, if it would have went back to the mounting points it should go to, this would be nearly touching the water pump, if not touching, and that there's no way you would be able to change out the water pump if you needed to without pulling this fan out. And that's totally unacceptable. I mean, to have to pull the hydraulic fan and, you know, really actually the radiator to change out your water pump, that's a no-go. I mean, that's just dumb. Well, I'm back home. Got this POS back here with me too. So basically everything I said, you know, that was wrong with it was an issue, other than the mounting posts here on the bottom. That is not crucial there, but it doesn't really matter because of this one mounting point right over here that's hitting the frame. And then I think even once, let's say you cut these posts all down, made this fan fit flush like it should, I believe the way the angle is on this radiator hose here outlet, I think the angle is too shallow, and it's definitely going to end up hitting the sway bar. The sway bar runs right underneath there, and I think that's going to be an issue. So if it isn't one thing, it's another. It's always something. So I'm going to be contacting this eBay seller and tell them they can have this thing back. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I really didn't enjoy producing it, because this was nothing but frustration. But at least I guess you know not to buy this. And if you did enjoy it, I appreciate the thumbs up. And if you've never subscribed to me before, please hit that subscribe button right down there and the little bell symbol right next to it, and that way you get notifications of my next and upcoming videos. I'm also an Amazon affiliate, and if you check in the description down below, you'll find Amazon links to products that I used in the video, all but this radiator. You won't find that product. And you'll find other products, just not that radiator. And by clicking on one of those links, it takes you to Amazon, and you can do all your Amazon shopping through one of those links, and the channel earns a small commission. I do appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you on the next one.